Impressions are lasting. If you have any doubt, go to your high school class reunion about 20 years later and watch everyone interact with everyone else just like they did when they were in high school. We socially respond through deep impressions that have been built into our view of people and brands. Perceptual frames surround people just as they do products. That is why professional coaches talk about your personal professional brand. We encourage people to examine honestly the perceptual frame that surrounds their professional image and work to help craft a perceptual frame to create value-laden equity. Given these lasting impressions that create a perceptual frame for a brand can either be carefully crafted and maintained, creating equity for the business, or carelessly crafted and not maintained, and that creates apathy. Consider for a moment the concept of equity. Equity is the market value of something above and beyond its tangible value. Tangible value accounts for the value of the materials, labor, cost of distribution, and supportive fixed costs that bring the product or service to market. Commodities are usually priced just at a small margin above the cost to bring it to market. Commodities are those products that have so little brand equity that any brand will do. And buyers are just buying stuff. High equity-laden brands command a market price that is higher than the cost to provide the good or service. Think Mercedes vehicles or Louis Vuitton. Certainly, there are automobiles that pretty much provide the same service and luxury as a Mercedes. And there are purses that provide the same quality and functionality as a Louis Vuitton. People are willing to pay a significant premium to own and display these brands as part of their personal lives. That premium is the quantification of equity that branding has created for these products. While the what of equity may be intangible, it's based on attitudes and impressions that are circulating in society. The how much is easily quantifiable. It's the upcharge that people are willing to pay to secure that particular brand. That upcharge can be quite huge. I suspect a purse manufacturer can produce a fine leather purse with all the functional qualities of a Louis Vuitton for maybe $500. But purchasing a used Louis Vuitton requires about $1,500 to leave your wallet. That is tangible equity. Let's take a moment to explore the financial value of brand equity, and do so in a general way in order to highlight this aspect but not elaborate on it. Consider that financial brand value can be viewed as equal to the price customers are willing to pay for the branded product, less the price they're willing to pay for the same product of a different brand that's viewed as fairly generic. An everyday example is the purchase of milk. The national brand Land O'Lakes commands a higher price than the local grocery store's brand, which is perceived basically as a commodity. The difference is usually about a 50% premium. Now, there are likely production costs that create tangible differences between the two products. However, if that was all that there was to raising the market price of the brand, then the margins wouldn't increase. The brand is not driving value, the production quality is. Many times when I was involved in developing new consumer products, readying them for launch, we would work hard to create product and brand that would be superior in features and persona to the more basic versions of the products available. Because those products were circulating in a red ocean. The competition was tight and was driven more by price than any other marketing aspect. And try as we might to create superior value, the customers did not value the superiority enough to pay the upcharge. Margins were squeezed, and we'd kill the project. So a prior business strategy decision before major branding efforts is discerning the flexibility of the product category to branding value. Often, a general category is already saturated with competitors, but subcategories can be discovered. An excellent example of a thriving, brand equity-driven product is Fairlife Milk. The company has created a subcategory of milk products that are different from the general category by how the milk is secured in responsible ways and how it's processed to be ultra-filtered, which lowers the sugar content. Those buying the brand are quite willing to pay the upcharge for these milk products versus general category milk products because they value these innovations. So, given the financial value of excellent branding, how do we discern the components of brand value? I'm going to return to the work of Douglas Holt. He outlines 4 major components of brand value. There is the reputation value, the experiential value, the symbolic value, and the relationship value. Let's delve into each of these more. And let's begin with reputation value. Brand cultures shape perceived quality value. At one time, Kmart had 2,100 stores dispersed across the United States. Today, only 34 stores remain. What happened? No matter what Kmart did regarding its product mix, the retailer was perceived as having a reputation for shoddy products. Its nickname was Kmapart. Its reputation value had created such a quality gap that it allowed Walmart and Target to take over the discount retail segment. And it caused Kmart to basically evaporate. You see, customers take on risk when they purchase products. The degree of the potential loss impacts the risk they're willing to take. And added value comes from the degree to which the brand's reputation lowers the perceived risk of that loss. The dimension of the brand is created by the stories that circulate regarding the brand. Family member to family member, neighbor to neighbor, colleague to colleague. Stories also circulate via the popular culture. Give some thought to the whacks at brands that are taken by late-night television shows or Saturday Night Live parodies or memes or stories circulated through social media. They have a huge impact on the brand's reputation value. A second component of branding value is relationship value. Brand cultures shape relationship perceptions. For example, Target. Target is the master at creating a relationship with its customers. In 2013, it launched the Cartwheel app that put relationship between the brand and the customer in the palm of one's hand. The app allowed customers to be connected to deals as they shopped, and it even began the ringing up process. Late in 2019, Target rebranded its app to be called now Target Circle, upping its exemplary game in connecting with the customers. Give some thought to how essential relationship is for most business-to-business brands. In pursuit of sustained partnerships, relationship value stems from the degree to which the customer can trust the firm to provide beyond the transactional terms of the agreement. To what degree can flexibility be expected in light of unforeseen circumstances? To what degree can innovation be expected in light of future opportunities? A third component of branding value is experiential value. From a psychological perspective, brand cultures impact the customer's experience. Quickly fill in this blank with a statement. I always buy blank product. I suspect that you were able to do so without a lot of thought. That's because brands help us make previously complex decisions simpler. Previous experience with a product or service becomes the expected next experience, and we substitute that expected experience for a complex decision process. Humans are cognitive misers. We use heuristics or rules of thumb to make many decisions. Brand culture is such a heuristic. We use the culture that surrounds the brand to determine if it belongs in our competitive set, a subset of available brands that one is willing to consider. And the fourth component identified by Holt is symbolic value. Brand cultures express values and identities, and customers determine if those values and identities are in line with their own. Consider Apple. In 1984, Apple launched a brand new personal computer, the Macintosh. This product was a huge departure from the earlier Apple computers branded A2 and 2E. With this launch, Apple began the drive to minimize the work a user had to do to interface with the computer's work. I worked on the first Mac and was utterly amazed at how the interface system, OS1, delivered ease as I wrote reports and memos and worked on spreadsheets. For the next 10 years, Microsoft scrambled to catch up with Macintosh to be as easy as the Mac system was to use and any of its software. Through the Mac, Apple developed symbolic value as user-centered, which then became defined as technology for the individual. Apple capitalized on this notion and even launched the icon concept. Beginning with the iPod, Apple defined and controlled the market for personal technology devices. Apple's logo and its naming protocol have become symbolic for technology for the individual. Humans have always used material possessions as markers of identity. The symbolic value is created when the target customer sees the brand as an extension of self. Of each dimension of brand value, symbolic value is the most defined by the target customer. A given brand will display some measures of all four brand value components to varying degrees. The strategic positioning of the brand will focus on increasing the overall brand value by leveraging the perceptions of one or two of these components. So, how might a marketer develop a brand strategy designed and engineered to bring each of these components of branding value into a perceptual frame for the brand? Work must be formulated toward intentional strategic activities with specific outcomes as the goal.